Alright, yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, coming at you guys today with zombie control. This is my take on it. It's got a little bit of a twist, something I wanted to experiment with, especially at one of the cards that came out not too long ago that I felt it had potential. We just we weren't sure how to play it yet, or how we should play it, and if it was worth it. So it's kind of that debate, is it even a good card, is it worth testing out? So I was testing that, and a couple other things, some really basically some really impactful cards that can be floodgate-ish because they're continuous and linger. But at the end of it, the ultimate result of this deck was to be able to play like a guru. We're playing like a guru control deck would, or like a Draco player would, or your average Sky Striker player. But it's not just a control deck. It's very aggressive. It's able to OTK, and the boards it puts up sometimes are more impressive than what you thought, because you'd see your hand and think, oh, I was just going to make a Vampire Sucker and a Bellatrix, and you do a lot more than that. So I like the deck. It's pretty cool. It can steamroll. It has moderate tempo swings. It can have conversions sometimes where it's like, okay, I was losing and out of nowhere, like I just came back. But ultimately, it's zombies. Zombies are pretty infamous, you guys. There's a lot of people that are zombie lovers and understand that zombies are just always going to be a good deck. Just in general, it doesn't matter what kind of zombie variant you play. If it's zombies, it's just you just understand that there's a certain ceiling that comes with some of the generically applicable staples that zombie decks can play. But I'm gonna hop into my list. You guys are gonna get to see some of the ingenuity here. We have one copy of Bellatrix to start off. I wanted to play multiples, but oftentimes you really only need one, and unless it gets called by the grave, you never actually have to summon the second one, because you can't apply the same effect in the same turn anyway. So you can use both effects, you just can't use both of them twice, so having two Bellatrix wouldn't accomplish much. So I still think that one is correct. If you feel the need to play more, you definitely can. And then for our starter cards, we play some one-card combos in the form of 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. And to pair with that, we also play 3 Unizombie, the Armageddon Knight for the zombie archetype, for any zombie archetype. And then I also wanted to continue with my favorite starter card, and pretty much all my zombie decks now, is Gozuki. The reason why Gozuki is my favorite is because he has a surplus extension. So he's not only going to be able to dump a zombie just like Unizombie could, but also he can get that extra Solitaire out of your hand, for example, in Special Solitaire, Tribute Solitaire, Summon Unizombie. And then you could dump Banshee. You could dump Banshee off Gozuki and then resolve Gozuki's graveyard effect. And that's if you have the Val target, because I already know how the effect works. You have to banish another zombie besides himself. If you have the Val target, you banish that, and then use his effect Special Zombie from your hand. You can Special Solitaire, Tribute him, and you get to dump both Bloom and Banshee, and that means Zombie World and Bellatrix. So I really like that Gozuki can help you out with stuff like that. So we have the 9 one-card combos. Think of this back in the day when we were playing Dark Warrior Turbo. These were like your 3 Greffers, your 3 Armas, and your 3 Vision Hero Vions. So you play 9 one-card combos to make the deck a lot more consistent. Opening up with any of these is good, because you just really, this deck, in order to set up, you just have to get certain cards in the grave, including, and not just including the Glow Bloom, but this is just one of the targets, including the Glow Bloom. This is a really powerful target that you want to get to the grave as soon as possible. Sometimes you have the weird hands when you just normally just make a Link Kribo, search off your Bellatrix, especially because Zombie World's up, and then you pass, Sometimes you have to do that. But other times you get to go off a little bit more, and you can set up your back row correctly. Because this deck does play some back row, because you're trying to manipulate what can and can't resolve. And you're trying to put as many handicaps and cripple your opponent as much as you possibly can. But 2 Glow Bloom is correct. I want Frauleins. Frauleins would be in this deck if I had them, because I just like the fact that this card can search Fraulein, and she's a battle trap. Pretty much like Honest Neos, but not really. Not like Honest Neos, but kind of like the Honest Neos of the deck, It's the closest thing that zombies can get to an Honest. It's just not as impactful. And then next up, well, it can go up to 3K if I'm not mistaken. Next up, for some extenders, we play 3 copies of Mizuki. We play 1 Spirit Master and 1 Spectral Shade. Those are the extenders of choice. Now, Spectral Shade is actually an incredible card. Spectral Sword Shade. If you guys don't know the interaction with this card, and it has nothing to do with just spamming zombies from your extra deck, it actually is just a very simplistic play. Where you can pop this off of your Solitaire. There's a really cool card that I play where I can actually spam a Solitaire on my opponent's in phase on their turn, summon a Solitaire on their turn, and I can use Solitaire on my turn on the follow-up to summon this bad boy. I can tribute him off, bring back my first banished Solitaire and a banished Mizuki, and then what happens is you use that Solitaire, you tribute the Mizuki that you summon to summon out a Unizombie from your deck. Use Unizombie to dump another Mizuki, and then you use that first Mizuki that you tributed off Solitaire to bring back whatever you want from your graveyard, meaning anything, because Zombie World makes everything zombie. So it doesn't matter that this has a restriction. You can bring back cards like Cypher and Lord Omega, Borosaur. You can bring any extra deck monster that was in your grave in the first place. So this is really insane for your graveyard plays in tandem with Zombie World. Obviously, if it's not a zombie, you can't summon it. We already understand that. But with Zombie World, it mitigates that issue so that this becomes like a double Monster Reborn play, where it's like a double extender. It's so good. It's definitely worth it as a one-off slot in your deck. I'm going to also play the one copy of Banshee so I can get quicker access to Zombie World. And this is another one of my techs. I play Kasha. I think that my deck is so good at going first that it struggles most predominantly going second. Not predominantly. It struggles most going second because this deck just can't play through interruptions like most, because your normal summons oftentimes are your best plays. And if your normal summon gets stopped, you automatically have to have extenders. But because I don't play dangers into this, because I wanted to make a pure zombie control deck, pure zombie, unfortunately, we don't have those kinds of extenders. Kasha is a great card. I don't know why zombie players don't play him, because he actually is literally a board wipe that doesn't target or destroy. He just shuffles everything back and gets a huge boost based on how many zombies got shuffled. I don't know why people can't play it. I mean, someone can comment and tell the reason why, but I think he's a great one-up. He's searchable off your bloom, and it makes your deck a lot higher ceiling going second, so that you don't have to worry about so much, especially if you have the chance to resolve it and doesn't get negated. Sometimes they could just be gained, because if Zombie World's up and you shuffled 8 monsters, for example, not saying that it's realistically going to happen, it could gain 8,000 attack. So that's it for the monsters. Well, not it for the monsters. We play 3 more. We play Ash Blossoms in the basically the only hand traps that were zombies that I had were Ash Blossoms. There's like one bell laying around somewhere, but one bell wasn't even worth it in the first place. But the beauty with Ash with Belladrug, if you know, I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of it now, where basically if you Ash your opponent on their turn, you can use Belladrug's effect to banish a monster, so it becomes a double interruption. And then with Zombie World up, the monster that they activate on field, you can still negate it with Belladrug, or if they activate Graveyard effect. So Ash just kind of covers a lot of ground. You know, it's a good hand trap. It helps this deck go in second even more. It's really necessary. So that's it for the monsters. Now we're gonna get to the spells. I could not play Pot of Desire. I mean, I couldn't play Allure of Darkness because there wasn't enough targets and it wasn't worth it. And I still needed some kind of draw power, so I'm taking the risk with Pot. The only one of I play is Belladrug. Everything else is at pretty much at 3 or at multiples. Well, Belladrug and Banshee, so I'm willing to pay the risk, especially when oftentimes you're able to get those cards out of your deck in the first place with any one of your 9-card combos. And if you can't, you just take the risk. But it's very necessary. It's a necessary evil. This deck needs draw power, and it doesn't have any. And I'm not playing dangerous because I want to keep it pure, so Pot was the way to go because, like I said, we don't have enough targets for Allure. Now, for the spell that I was talking about, I'm playing 3 copies of Ghost Meets Girl. It's a Shiranui story. So the reason why I actually play this card is it's more of a reactive card. Of course, it helps you going second because, again, remember, this deck struggles going second, and that's the problem when you lose Dice Roll. You need an extender. Well, this card is your extender because you don't want to play dangerous. Like, again, the request that was made upon me was 3 stacks. Can you make a pure Zombie World deck that doesn't run Dangers or Orcus? Well, this doesn't run Dangers, it doesn't run Orcus, and it's still a really good deck, and it can be tier 2. So this not only helps you out going second, because obviously an extender, so if they, for example, just, you know, interrupted your normal summon, you can actually use this to bring out a Solitaire, for example, or Spectral Sword Shade, however you want to do it. But also, when you're going first, you can set this in your back row, because it literally says if your opponent controls a monster, not if they control more monsters than you, if your opponent controls a monster, that's it. So what this card does is, when you have excess cards, like let's say you have Zombie World up, and you have, like, for example, a Glow Bloom in your hand, and you for some reason just couldn't get Belladrug out yet, you can actually activate this card, discard Glow Bloom, and then you can special summon a Solitaire, and then trigger Glow Bloom, and then bring out Belladrug on your opponent's turn. That's one of many examples. You can discard Gozuki, special something from hand. Discard, you know, a Mizuki to have that graveyard extender. Discard a Banshee, you know, if you didn't already, like, it just, the point is, not only does it summon a Solitaire from your deck, which is the primary target, or you could summon the Sword Shade, but it discards a zombie, which zombies belong in the grave in the first place. So I think it's a relative extender. It's really good going second, and it's good going first also, because you just set it in your back row, and it's a reactive card. You can actually set up some really nice combos and interrupt your opponent a bit more. So I think it's definitely worth it. Try it out at 3. Don't knock it until you try it. Unless you've tried it, you can't say that it's bad, because you wouldn't know, because you've never played it. So if you have tried it, you probably can understand why I'm playing the 3 Ghost Meet Girl. It's actually a really good card. I underestimated this card myself. We main 3 Super Polys. Obviously, with Zombie World, you can Super Poly any deck, but we also still play one other Super Poly target. Just because you're not always going to have Zombie World. It's not guaranteed every time, and you just don't want Super Poly to ever be dead. But Super Poly just helps to... essentially, it elevates the control element of this deck. Essentially, it's continuing with the game plan of this deck. You're just trying to interrupt and disrupt, but you're not doing it in a degenerate or unfair way. You're not putting up 10,000 negates, you know. You're pretty much just playing a control deck, a pretty fair, moderate tempoed control deck. It's not spamming the board explosively, putting out 10, you know, negates and spamming 3 Skull Dreads and drawing your whole deck. It's just putting up a couple interruptions, but it's doing it every turn consistently. So it can really grind. This deck can grind a lot better because I was testing this and this list is great. Another one of my techs is Deck Lockdown. I don't know why people don't play this card. I don't. I actually forgot about it myself, but again, I do research. I do a lot of research in the Yu-Gi-Oh card database, and once I basically was reminded of this card, I decided to start playing again. And now that I remember this, I'm going to be playing this in a lot more of my other control decks. I don't know why people don't play it. It's not just a mistake. It's not just a Colossus. It locks you out from special summoning from your deck too. So that hinders so many plays. For some decks, they just can't play. Like, they just literally can't play. Some decks just can't play. Some decks, all they do is search and special from the deck. And then we have 1 copy of Foolish Barrel to finish up the spells. So essentially, your spells are either reactive or proactive. Now, reactive is just responsive. Proactive is actually to prevent an action. So, Deck Lockdown is a primary example. It's proactive. Zombie World's another primary example. It's proactive. Why? Because your opponent cannot go into Guard Dragons. They can't tribute Colossuses for free. They can't go into Links in a Salamangreat matchup. You know, it's a very proactive card. It prevents a lot of things from actually occurring. And then these cards, these 6, the Polys and the Ghost Meets Girls, are actually very reactive cards that you can set into your back row in addition to your traps. Now, another one of my spicy techs is actually 3 Vampire Domination. I played this in my Vendreads 9 months ago. This was in my Vendread list because I noticed how consistently some really good zombie decks were able to get out Vampire Sucker. Vampire Sucker is part of your standard combo. So think of it this way. If this card's a brick, that means your whole hand was a brick, because if you can't make Sucker, it's not a good hand. So this card's pretty much live as long as your hands are live. I felt that it was very necessary. We needed an Omni Negate. Belladroke is no good against Skytrackers. You know, he doesn't really do too well against other decks like that don't rely on monsters. And I felt that since Belladroke was my main form of disruption, I needed an Omni Negate to protect me from Evenly Match, protect me from Counter Traps and Widow Anchors and Twin Twisters and things of that nature. I think this card covers the ground. In everything in that regard. If you don't want to play it, you don't have to, but I like this card a lot, and it just, not only does it make this deck a lot higher ceiling, but it just catches people off guard. They never think you're going to pop this off because this is a vampire card. So definitely try it out. The spice is real. We have 3 copies of Swallow Slash as well. This card is nuts. I wish it said tribute 1 zombie type monster on the field, because this would make Zombie World nuts, but it's still basically going to be essentially a Fire Lake, because you're going to pop 3, because you're just going to banish Spirit Master. So this just helps you to clear boards. It's so good. And then I play Double Rivalry. Not 3, just Double Rivalry. I think that the 2 is just correct. You can definitely play 3 if you want, but I value these cards more. But there is a crazy lock with Zombie World and Rivalry that everybody knows. It's like a Vanities, because you can't summon anything new, because if it's not a zombie before it hits the field, it can't hit the field. So we know Rivalry, Rivalry Zombie World is a pretty strong lock. It's what makes Zombie Control such a really good, a good choice. Zombie combos with the Orcus and stuff like that are great too, but Zombie Control is more budget friendly. None of these cards are expensive, except for maybe the Super Polys. But you can get commons of those. You can get common Ash Blossoms. This is very budget friendly for all my budget players out there. This is a great list for you guys. You guys can pick this up for probably under 50 or 40 bucks. And it's actually really good, for all you zombie fans. If you love zombies, this is a great list for you to try. And, try out your own techs and cut things and put on your own, put your own spin to it. Use your own ingenuity and innovate this deck. There's so many cards that you can play in zombies. So one of the other spicy techs is going into the extra deck. I decided to play Crimson Blader in this deck. Now, I know that this deck can struggle against Danger Thunder and Pendulum and pretty much combo in general. So when I say combo, I mean Orcus, Danger Thunder, and Pendulum. So the thing is, Crimson Blader locks those all out. If you can successfully, and this is old school, if you guys remember back in the day, this used to be the end-all be-all in the matchups against, like, specifically Dragon Rulers. It would hurt Mermels to a degree and kind of spellbooks, but specifically Dragon Rulers, he just killed. This was like, you couldn't summon Evil Swarm Ophion because you weren't playing Evil Swarm. This was your next best thing. Essentially, if he kills a monster by battle, your opponent cannot summon level 5 or higher monsters during their next turn. So this stops Orcus Nightmare from coming out because it's a level 7. Pendulum players cannot Pendulum summon level 5 or higher. They can still bring out Harmonizing, but it stops a lot more than you think, and including it stops Servant, because Servant can't summon Jackal King or Endymion. And also against Danger Thunder, they can't summon their big dangers, they can't summon their big Thunder Dragons, they can't summon their fusion monsters, they can't summon off of Agripane. It's just so good, you guys. It's really good. It helps you out because, like I said, this deck has a moderate tempo. It's not gonna clear the game really fast. Like, it's not just gonna first turn set up, you know, second turn kill. Sometimes you can go into grind games where you're getting past turn 3 and 4 because you can manipulate your opponent's resources. Like, you can set it up to where they can't kill you, but also sometimes you can't kill them. So this just gets you extra turns. It buys you time that you need so that you can finish them off. And then the 1 Omega, you gotta play it in zombies. You know, it's really good in this deck. I chose Squire Saga as one of my synchro targets because I think this card's great. And I also played Black Rose again because this deck struggles going second. And if you have a better chance playing Black Rose, why not play it? I do have some proxies, just warning you right now that there's some cards that I still haven't gotten yet. So we're playing 1 Borosaur, we're playing 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, and 1 Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh is necessary just for those weird Glow Bloom hands. So you still definitely want to play it. And then for the XYZs, I play 2. I play Tornado and Hand. I wanted to play Dweller. I really did want to play Dweller, but I also felt that with Zombie World up, Zombie World kind of acts like a Dweller oftentimes, and the plays that Dweller would stop can't really resolve. And also at the same time, the Rivalry Lockdown, the Super Polys and stuff, I just felt that what I wanted was a more of a reactive card in the terms of monster presence. Just basically being able to negate monster effects, specifically interacting with those, because it can be a really big issue, like just playing against like Pendulums and stuff when they can just put out so many crazy powerful monsters. Belladrock just can't do it all, and obviously Dweller does nothing against Pendulum, so I just feel like this just would help me out in that matchup too. And Tornado just helps against back rows. It helps against Pendulums. You know, it's a pretty solid generic. And then these are the proxies. It's 2 Vampire Suckers, 1 Avenged Slayer, and 1 of the fusion target that I don't have. He's really old. He's his name's like Draco Nether Soul. So I have none of these 4 cards. So they're all proxies. I am sorry, but I can't buy new Yu-Gi-Oh cards right now. I'm in the process of doing a lot of stuff, including getting my card back and moving again. And then another Super Poly target is Starving Venom. That was my other choice. I was going to do Draco Stapelio, but I also felt that in my Orcus matchup, I didn't want Super Poly to be dead, because this deck can really struggle against Orcus specifically because of that Negate and Banish. Not Negate and Destroy, but the Negate and Banish is a really big problem. So yeah, you guys, that's it for the deck profile. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. You folks have a beautiful day, and definitely try the list out for yourselves. It's pretty cheap. And I hope that my subscribers are pleased, those of you who have requested this. A lot of people have asked for Pure Zombies, but there was one specific request made to someone who actually has been subscribed to me since I had like 300 or less subscribers. And when this person barely asked for anything, so when he asked for something, I feel like, you know what, like, that you gotta, you know what I mean? It's just, that's how it is. But anyways, thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. Have a beautiful day. Stay positive, and you will be hearing from me soon. Peace out, yo.